Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and this video is going to be kind of sort of different from what I usually tend to do at the start of a brand new season of anime. Usually when a new season begins, I focus on the first episodes that leave me really excited, leave me really chomping at the bit to want to come on and talk about them, how excited they made me, how into it I got, and all the things I like and love about a particular first episode. And if any of you have been following me on my secondary channel where I post outtakes and sometimes vlogs and off the cuff, thoughts off the top of my head, I put up a video yesterday talking about how over the winter months, and especially in the last couple of weeks, I've been really kind of feeling ill and out of sorts and down and out. And like, I've had this escalating sense of falling into a disenchantment with anime. And this was really poignant to me in the last couple of days when I watched 3 first episodes, well, 2 1/4. I couldn't get through the entirety of the third one that I watched. And then subsequently I watched the first episode again today. And for each of, the 4 of these shows, their first episodes, I had that sense of like there were things that pulled me in and I thought were exciting, but for the most part, part and parcel of it, the entirety of each of these episodes, like the story, the characters, there were things that rubbed me the wrong way. And I was left definitively feeling like I'm probably not going to be interested in these shows. I'm not going to want to cover them, and I probably won't even want to watch them. In a couple of the cases of the shows I'm going to talk about in this video, you can already see the title above, I may check out the second and third episodes, give it the 3-episode rule, whatever like that. But I wanted to kind of come on, and rather than talk about the things that, sort of excite me about these shows, and I will be touching on those aspects, I just kind of want to flesh out why I feel the antithesis, why I feel put off by them, and see if anybody out there is going through this as well, having this issue with some of these anime series. The first one I watched was Prince of Stride Alternative, and I really loved from the get-go the style, the look, and the feel of it from right off the bat. Sort of being introduced to the track running meets parkour elements really reminded me of the video game Mirror's Edge, which I loved playing back in the day when I still had a PS3 and everything like that. And there were elements of that really struck me and struck a chord with me and got me excited. But then the rest of the form and function of the episode is being introduced to these characters, none of which are particularly interesting to me, and just the scholastic aspect, too much bordering on slice of life, like it just lost the momentum and the energy. And then toward the end of the first episode, when they're putting to the test, they're trying to get this sort of group in their school, the Stride Club or whatever it is, put together with new members and everything, and when they actually have a sort of test race, it's almost like a sparring match in the form of striding, with the parkour elements and everything, I was excited again. But then once again, it kind of fell flat toward the end, and like I was really feeling exuberant about it from the start, with the running, the parkour, and everything like that. And I felt like it was tentpole, because the episode began with that, and it ended with that to a point. And that was what I was really excited about. And everything else in between, it was like, getting a rotten Oreo, where the cookie parts are great, but the middle is just like muck, or it's been robbed. Somebody stole the middle of your cookie, the cream in your cookie. And I was really disenchanted by it. That's one of the shows I might go back and check out, in episode 2 and episode 3. But yeah, unless there's like more focus on the momentum and the racing and the training, I don't know, I'm just not really feeling it. The second first episode that I actually watched was Haruchika, and that was the one I really couldn't get through the entirety of. I have to say, like, one of the chief factors was I was really feeling like crap. I had been suffering insomnia a couple of days, and I tried to give it a fair shake. And there were elements, I'm somebody who comes off a series like, Ibiki Euphonium or Sound Euphonium, which is dealing with, I was sort of getting that vibe at first. Like it was going to be something along those lines where it's a school band and everything like that. But then they had to throw like all this other crap in, like bloody music notes and It's calling back on Bach and how he would implant, the sort of numeric musical note equivalents of his own name and everything into his pieces that he would orchestrate. And I don't know, it was befuddling. And the best way I can equate it is with a comic book reference. I don't know how many of you out there are anime lovers and comic book fans, but if you've ever read any of the Archie comics, it's a very sort of slice of life comedy, and very much akin to, growing of age story, and it's been around since the 30s or whatever it is. So it's gone through a lot of different evolutions in print and everything like that. There have been cartoon series, and in the last few years, I've heard the Hollywood big shots bandying about making an Archie movie or TV series, but it can't just be a coming-of-age story, a slice-of-life story, like a Hibiki Euphonium, which is very much surrounding the whole musical culture and in-school band culture, which I thought Haruchika was going to be from the start. Very much like this, the way Haruchika played it out. They're talking about, oh, well, if we're going to make it interesting, we got to make it a zombie series with the Archie cast of characters, or we got to make it a horror series, or we got to make it like Twin Peaks, like something really strange and really out there and really weird. They're solving mysteries, because otherwise it's just not interesting. Air quotes. And that's what I was left feeling with Haruchika. I couldn't even get through the episode because I'm like, why are you bogging it all down with this crap? Just get these characters together. Just get them trying to piece together their band or figure out if they're going to be able to play. You have the main character who's kind of having a crisis of self, trying to be less of a tomboy. That would be interesting. Why do you have to throw in all this, sort of mystery element? This like Tomb Raider-esque, whatever kind of stuff where, there's somebody threatening somebody else and it's a revenge plot. And I couldn't get through the episode because it felt so weighed down and bogged down by all of that other stuff. It didn't really make sense to me. Another first episode I watched, the third one I watched, was Myriad Colors Phantom World. And I liked, again, aspects of this first episode. I think the biggest thing I came away with, it was kind of reminding me a little bit of Plastic Memories in its style, in the look of the sort of main character guy, who, for all intents and purposes, cut him out of the show. He doesn't need to be there. They even say it by the end. Why are you even part of this group? We don't need him. He's a useless character. He doesn't really have any heart. He's just sort of the window through which we see these other characters. The sort of well-endowed chick in the yellow sweater, she was all kinds of badass. The other chick who can, eat demons or whatever the hell they are that they're fighting, can suck them in, all kinds of badass. Why can't they be the two leads and just, have them be the focus of the show? Because anything that had to do with them was all kinds of badass. Even the little fairy chick, okay, have her for comic relief. Get rid of the guy. Unnecessary baggage. Everything that dealt with these two females, and even certain aspects of the little fairy chick in this first episode, were awesome. There was a lot of momentum. It really had me excited. That whole sequence toward the end where they gotta do how low can you go? That thing with the big electrical poles that had come to life and everything like that. I loved that whole sequence. I loved that drum beat. I was kind of grooving along watching it. I was like, oh, hell yeah. You got well-endowed chick. She's just about barely getting underneath that pole as it's lowering and lowering and lowering. And it was exciting. And then to see the chick who can eat these things and suck them in, almost into a black hole. That was mad exciting, being introduced to her. And it's like, this guy, every time this guy is on screen, he's just seemingly whiny, and he's just giving us exposition. It's just bored the hell out of me, this guy. I'm like, he doesn't need to be there. Are we going to have some impromptu romance aspect added to this because either he likes the fairy chick, or he likes the well-endowed chick, or he likes the chick who can eat demons and everything, and apparently tons and tons of rice as well in the cafeteria? those were the elements I really liked about the episode. The two female leads, the fairy chick a little bit, and anything to do with them. The dude, chuck him. Throw him in the waste. We don't need him. He made it uninteresting. He made the interesting aspects, to me, this is just my own personal opinion, in episode 1, Myriad Colors Phantom World, he made it uninteresting. He took everything that was interesting and deflated it for me. And so I just felt like it was too imperfect. I'm going to get too annoyed having to deal with this little scumbag all the time when I want to see the chicks and I want to see what they're getting up to. And I want to see them kicking ass, taking no names with these phantoms, these creatures, whatever otherworldly things they are. I thought there was a great level of depth in describing, the idea, limbo, that these poles might have come to life and because they were once trees and they were once an extension of the living world and all this kind of stuff, and they're kind of mourning that. And it's the Christian concept of limbo, that in-between realm, and that's kind of embodied by the fact that they're doing this dance, and then of course it's kind of comedically shrugged off, like, no, it has nothing to do with anything, But, I liked those things. And so we got some of that information from the guy, granted. But, with the exception of his involvement in them all doing the how low can you go limbo thing with these poles and putting them to rest, laying them to rest, the rest of the episode, I didn't need to see any of him. And so, I don't know if I'm going to be able to move on. I might check out an episode 2. And the final first episode that I watched just a little while ago, as of the time of this recording, just before popping on this video to record, was Active Raid, blah, 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 very long title, in both English and the Japanese or whatever. Kind of made me think of a more lighthearted, somewhat goofy, just based on the PV, mind you, equivalent of like a Psycho Pass or Ghost in the Shell. 2 series that are way up top on my all-time faves, that kind of thing, list. And I was pretty much right about that to a point. Throw in there kind of a Guyver feel with, the mecha suits, these well-wears or whatever they're called. And just, I don't know, the whole first episode felt like a cacophony, like it was unending, like this is for anyone who is an anime fan who has Tourette's, because there's constant noise. The music is at first when the music kicks in, with that beat, I was reminded of things you hear in a Cowboy Bebop. The problem is the momentum never stops. It's constantly banging you over the head with explosions, with fast pace, with dialogue, people's sentences getting cut off and moving that much, steps ahead every couple of seconds. I mean, 3 or 4 times I had to go back and try to catch what the hell was being said about the tech, the minutia, and everything like that. And of course you have this girl who's sent in to this Unit 8 or whatever. I'll use that as an abbreviated term, Unit 8. This whole group, they know what they're doing. They're pretty fluid in the form and function of their job, and they see it as a job, and she's kind of got this moralistic, justice-like value, I got to come in here, I got to set this place straight, I got to own this place, and they're not having it. She can't get a full sentence out and everything like that. And to degrees, that was funny. It was a little predictable, and the guy she meets on the subway is the guy she runs into, whatever, Oscar II pilot or whatever, of this mecha suit. The mecha suit designs just don't attract me that much. I really wasn't feeling that whole sequence. Although it did get pretty funny when Oscar II gets involved and he's not following the rules and he's throwing Oscar I up at the plane that scoops up these 2 criminals in well-wear suits themselves. And there's some befuddled misdirection where they're live tweeting or whatever, but it's somebody else and we don't have the jurisdiction. And it was just unending monotony. People were talking really fast, cutting each other off. Before you could figure out where they were 3 steps ahead of you again. And it just, like I said, with the music constantly loud in my ears, it was just befuddling. It was just oh my God, make it stop. Take a breath. you balance those kinds of moments out with more quiet, subdued moments, character moments, dare I say. And so I just like, whoa, I don't even have any interest. I thought I might have interest in this series. I don't even want to bother with an episode 2 of Acted Raid, blah, 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 blah. So, like, kind of a new flavor for me, talking about the things I liked about each of the 4 of these episodes, or in the case of Haruchika, the quarter of it I could get through. Talking about things I liked, but primarily telling you why I'm not going to want to watch them, probably. I'll check out episodes 2 of, Prince of Stride, maybe, Myriad Colors, maybe. But yeah, like, I'm not feeling them. And I want to put that out there. I want to have something to put up as I'm waiting for the shows that I feel like more strongly I might have an interest in. Dimension W, Dagashikashi, others like that. Go check out my Winter 2015 interests and coverage video to see what other shows I have interest in, if you haven't already. But I just figured I'd put up this video kind of chatting off the cuff, off the top of my head, and say, I've watched these shows. This is why I'm not really liking them overall. These are the aspects I dig about them. And if there was more focus on those aspects, characterization, the aspects I've talked about that I really loved, as far as with Prince of Stride, the animation and the focus on the parkour track running elements, focusing on the chicks in Myriad Colors rather than having this guy who's like wasted space, excess baggage that you could easily cut out, and just have the fairy character be the one who communicates for us the way the world works. Like, I like the concept of, there was like this explosion, part of the brain's evolution. It's kind of like the X-Men mutant thing, where they're able to see the world in a different fashion and see supernormal elements that usually human beings are blind to. Like, all of that sounds fascinating. But then you got this guy that's just like in the way of it all. And yeah, so that's how I'm feeling. I hope you enjoyed this video. You enjoyed listening to me sort of rant and also expound upon things I both loved and didn't like in these first 4 episodes. I doubt you will see any further content on any of them. Just wanted to have something to put up today. And since the winter season has officially begun, we're off to a start. In any case, whether I liked it or not. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. If you've seen any of the first episodes of these 4 series, let me know what you thought of them, if you enjoyed them, if you had a completely different, sort of reaction to them, if they're going to fall by the wayside for you, as well as, me and everything like that. Anything goes in the comments below. Just love having that conversation. So otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.